I'm going to welcome, as before those of you came in, the UCONN Extension Office is just amazing, the things that they offer. And tonight we have Mary Ellen Welch, who is the Healthy Homes Educator, and her intern, Sarah, and Sarah Thomas, who's a junior at UCONN. And I'm going to turn the program over to them. If you have any questions during the slideshow, type it in the chat box and I will address them at the end. If you did not get the handouts, I did send them out. Just let us know. I think we will probably put it on our website as well, if that's okay for you, Mary and Sarah, so that we can share the information as much as possible. So I'm going to mute myself and take my picture off. And I thank you all for joining us and supporting us, and let's learn how to keep things clean.
Welcome to Healthy Housekeeping with COVID-19 cleaning tips. And we would like to thank Anne Campbell and the Groton Public Library for allowing us to be hosts and to allow us to present this workshop tonight on healthy housekeeping. And I just wanted to mention to you, UCONN Extension has a variety of workshops for the public, and most are available for free. We have an office in Norwich, which is currently closed during the pandemic. However, you can reach us online. We have many resources, extension.uconn.edu, or just type UCONN Extension into your browser, and you will see the vast amount of resources that we do have available. And UCONN Extension is also associated with the Healthy Homes Partnership, of which I am a member. And through this, we work with educators from land-grant universities, and UCONN is a land-grant university. And it was actually created as we're having our presidential inauguration tomorrow. It was, and we think of one of our presidents who many people consider President Lincoln a phenomenal president, all that he had to manage. And he started the concept of land-grant universities and education, and that has expanded out certainly over the last a century. And we work together to conduct research and to share resources. And you may want to look for us on Facebook or Twitter, and that has many interesting posts on the subject. Here you can see there are 8 healthy homes principles. And as you can see, if you are able to keep your home dry, so you don't develop mold, clean, which that's the principle obviously we're focusing on this evening, and safe, the other principle, and well ventilated, pest-free, contaminant-free, and if you live in a home or an apartment that is well maintained and temperature controlled, then a healthy home will support your health. And certainly this has become something that people have always been conscious of, but during the pandemic, naturally people are paying greater attention to the concept of having a healthy home. And under normal circumstances, people spend about 70% of their time at home. However, I think many people can attest to the fact that they are spending even more time at home than they were used to. And certainly, being winter in Connecticut versus the summer, we're probably inside a little more than we were 6 months ago. And if you do keep your home clean and disinfected and safe, you could try not to spread the COVID-19 virus. So this is a measure. It's not something that is ironclad to prevent it, but it will help to limit the transmission of the virus within your home. So tonight we're going to review several healthy homes practices that can support good health. It is possible. Some people I know have medical conditions, they're immune compromised, and they are not in contact with anyone outside of their home. They're extremely insulated from others in order to protect their health. Completely understandable. However, many people may be in contact with people from inside and outside your home, and those that are inside your home may have to go out. For instance, if you have children that have school that they are attending in person any days of the week, that would be a possibility. Or if you have to, you prefer to go get groceries instead of ordering them and having them delivered. Or if you have a medical appointment, let's say, where you have to go for a test and must come in person, there may be different times when we are outside of our home. And so when you think about it, if you're outside of your home and you're coming back in, you want to be sure that you definitely keep those surfaces clean and disinfected for greater protection. And our workshop tonight, a lot of it will focus on developing daily and weekly habits and routines so that you can maintain a level of cleaning and disinfection within your home. This certainly was a sight we saw at the beginning of the pandemic several months ago, when it was very hard. All the cleaning supplies seemed to disappear from the stores. People were buying them as rapidly as the stores were able to stock them. And sometimes it's harder to find specific brands. And so many of us have had to adapt, use new brands. Some new brands have been available in stores, certainly. I think the stores have had to select a greater diversity of brands. But the key thing is knowing on the product what the product is designed for, what task, the surfaces you can and cannot use a given product on, and also how much to use and how to use it safely, which is part of how much to use it. For hand washing, hand sanitizers, and hand wipes, definitely, if you have access to soap and clean water, that is preferable to using a hand sanitizer or a hand wipe. And so hand sanitizers or wipes are good if there is no access to soap and water. And it is recommended that you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds under warm water and soap, and scrub all the parts around your nails minimally in order to thoroughly wash your hands. And homemade sanitizers are sometimes made by certain people. They may choose to try to make their own because they couldn't find it or thought it would be more economical. It is important because sometimes if people have a container that resembles a food container, people can get confused. I have seen that there have been cases of people who had a cleaner, they used a water bottle, and then someone doesn't realize, they go to drink it, and of course that would be awful. And also some that were not put together in the right proportions, and people actually had burns on their hands. Now, while these are rare circumstances, it can happen. And so it is recommended, ideally, that you purchase a commercially made hand sanitizer if you're going to buy them for use when you're out of the house. And commercially made ones can be made in a controlled conditions in a factory. And it's very difficult to replicate that in person at home. And the FDA also does have a list of hand sanitizers. You may recall in the news several months ago that some were made with methanol, and this is dangerous to use on your hands. So the FDA has maintained a list of hand sanitizers that it does not recommend. And the ones that are recommended contain either ethyl alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Isopropyl alcohol we've probably seen with before you get a shot, clean the surface of your skin, or benzalkonium chloride in the right proportions. And if you have young children, they should be supervised whenever they are using any kind of hand sanitizer. You want to be sure they don't get it in their eyes, that they don't overuse it, so that they will use it safely, not ingest it, not become ill. One of the key things, people walk into some of the stores, and the stores are trying to be very helpful. They have wipes, and it's important to know if those wipes are for cleaning your hands or for cleaning, let's say, a shopping carriage. And it's important to use hand wipes only on your hands, and to use a surface cleaning wipe, which has stronger chemicals on surfaces, not on your hands. And it is here, if you do have to use a homemade recipe, then you would use it from a trusted source for the recipe with at least 60% alcohol. Now for hand hygiene, we all have heard that social distancing is ideal, when we're out of the house or anywhere where we might be in the presence of people. If you went out for a walk, let's say, or something like that, and wearing a mask is good. But one of the key things with hand hygiene, and most of the droplets, I will say, due to current scientific conclusions, are that droplets from COVID are spread primarily through respiratory droplets. So your nose, coughing or sneezing, talking, things like that. Hand hygiene, to an extent, is also important. And when you're out, you want to be very conscious of avoiding touching your eyes, your nose, or your mouth when you are out and you are wearing a mask, or you're in an environment where you could possibly touch something and come into contact with the COVID virus, and then possibly touch your face. So it's really good to avoid touching your face when you are out. And also, another thing I recommend to people is hand hygiene is very important. If you're out anywhere, let's say you were at work, or somewhere you had to go, or you have to unpack groceries, for instance, things that you're bringing into your house. This is an important time to wash those hands for 20 seconds with the soap and water and rinse them. And also, before eating or preparing any kind of food, after contact with any animals or pets, and certainly if you provide routine assistance to, like, a young child or anyone in your home, that is a very important time to practice good hand hygiene. The main thing to remember with storing and cleaning masks is that used masks, those that are dirty, that are waiting to be cleaned, you should have a system within your home. If you take the mask and always put the dirty ones in a plastic bag, then they aren't left on a table or a counter here or there. And you will know immediately, if they're in a plastic bag, that that is a mask that is waiting to be washed. And store clean ones when they are thoroughly dry in a paper bag. And if you have a few people in your house, I know in my house, we have preferences, masks we like to wear. The person's name can be on the paper bags. They know if they grab that going out of the house, they can know that's their masks and that they're clean. And the key thing is to have a system in your home, and that everyone in the home knows it. And it's important that any kind of mask that is used is washed daily. And they should certainly cover your nose and your mouth thoroughly. And try not to allow air in. They should fit pretty good against your face. And I think we're going to see a lot of improvements in mask design as time goes on. And masks can either be washed by hand, warm water and soap, scrub them and thoroughly rinse them. And you can even rinse them with hot water. Or you can wash them in the washing machine with detergent and soap. And that will also work. Sometimes those nylon bags are very helpful because the mask doesn't kind of get caught up with other laundry, and it's will be a little more intact in terms of its shape. And then as soon as it's dry, you can dry it either on in the dryer on higher heat if that allows with your other laundry. You could dry it outside as long as you do not have any allergies to pollen. Or if you do, and you're not using your washing machine, then you can hang them to dry inside your home. This slide is from North Carolina State University. And as you can see here, these are three terms you kind of hear a lot: cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting surfaces. And you might say to yourself, what does this really mean? And cleaning, that is the first step and a very critical one in keeping your home safe. And cleaning removes dust, germs, and crumbs from surfaces, but not all germs. So cleaning is good. You have visible surface dirt. Let's say I go to cook something. Obviously, I'm going to have some food or crumbs that might be on the counter. So you want to clean your counter thoroughly after you do any kind of cooking or other activities in the home. Anytime you see grime, spots, it could be something as simple as grooming in the morning, something like makeup or toothpaste, anything. It's good to clean the surface so that you are removing surface visible kinds of dirt. Where sanitizing, that destroys some bacteria and viruses, but not the SARS-CoV-2 virus, the severe acute respiratory syndrome virus that, of course, has created the pandemic within the whole world. And disinfecting products or disinfectants, they are subject to much more rigorous overview by the Environmental Protection Agency than sanitizing products. And sanitizers do not qualify for the EPA N list. And the N list are disinfectants for use against COVID. And so you want to do a combination of cleaning and disinfecting within your home to really keep it optimally safe and healthy for everybody who is living there. Let's see, the N list, as you can see, is list N, and the EPA maintains this. It's very easy to find if you look on your computer or if you have a smartphone. And it has the products, and it also lists a couple of sets of numbers. And there are many, many, many pages of products, of disinfectants, and many have been added to it since March of this year. And it's important, if you want to get any kind of disinfectant, you want to be sure it's good If it's EPA approved, that is really important. And this is an example here of a canister. And I will say it's in very tiny print. However, it says EPA registration number. And here you'll see a group of numbers, or here you'll see a few numbers. And this will tell you that that's an approved disinfectant for you to be able to use in your home. And only mix the amount that you need for up to 24 hours for effectiveness. And for instance, you could use 2 teaspoons of unexpired regular household bleach added to 2 cups of water, so it wouldn't make a large amount. Or you cannot use the bleach and use a 70% alcohol and water solution to disinfect. And only if you have a cleaning chemical and you have to mix it, only mix it with water. Never mix 2 cleaning chemicals together, because you can have some very serious health problems that could really threaten your life. Here's an example. It says to disinfect using bleach with concentrations of 5.25% to 6%. And bleach comes in concentrations presently up to 9%. However, during regular times prior to the pandemic, on the right side of your screen, if you look down at the bottom, you would use bleach. You could use 3/4 of a teaspoon of bleach to a cup of water. However, during the pandemic, it has been recommended that you use 1 teaspoon of bleach to 1 cup of water. So a tiny bit more bleach, not a major amount, but a little bit more. And of course, most people probably would not be using gallons every day. But if you wanted to have a little bit for the day, you should have it in a cleaning bottle that you mix, that's labeled and marked. And you'd have it for 24 hours if you used up to a cup of the solution. And then you could pour it down the sink, start over with a new one the next day. And I do want to call your attention, if you notice, it says unexpired household bleach. Bleach, like milk, has a date, a use by date, just like milk does. And that should be printed on the bottle. During COVID, one of the important things is when you want to clean and disinfect high touch surfaces. That's one of your takeaways tonight. And you would use the appropriate cleaners and disinfectants for the surface. Obviously, we can't use bleach on surfaces that we don't want color changes. So that could only be used on certain surfaces. And, you know, if you have any kind of kitchen equipment, for instance, it is important to read in the booklets to see that come with the appliance or the manual online to see what is recommended and if there are any things not to apply to a given surface that could damage its luster or sheen, that type of thing. And it's important to wash your hands before you start cleaning. When you're done cleaning, you could come into contact with some cleaning chemicals. It's a good idea to just rinse those hands with some soap and water. Here you see some bleach, and not all bleach is created equal. Make sure that the bleach has an EPA registration number. Some bleach that is sold does not have an EPA registration number, so it is not automatically a disinfectant. And they should, as long as you have that EPA registration number, you'll know that it will be a disinfectant that will work well in your home for actually disinfecting surfaces. Here you see an open window. And one of the great things with cleaning and disinfecting is your personal safety, not inhaling vapors from cleaning products. So this is the ideal time to use good ventilation and to bring fresh air into your home through windows and doors. And if your home has central heating as well as central air conditioning, uh, you can set the fan to on instead of auto to draw fresh air. Getting that air exchange is one of your goals that you should have in your home. And that system would probably be connected to your furnace. And you want a pleated furnace filter that is the right size for your furnace will catch more contaminants coming in. And as long as you change it on the schedule recommended by the manufacturer, or at least every 3 months, it will help to keep the air in your home cleaner, which is one of our goals. You can also, you probably have seen some of the portable air cleaners that have come on the market. And they've been around, but they're being promoted, I think, more now because they know people are at home with the pandemic. And they have what are called HEPA cleaners, or high efficiency particulate cleaners. And these will help to trap particles that people exhale when they're breathing or talking or coughing or sneezing. And you can purchase one for a room. And this will also help keep your air fresher. And they have what's called a clean air delivery rate, a CADR. It must meet or exceed the square footage for the area. Let's say you're going to put it in your office or your family room, whatever, your kitchen, whatever room you choose to use it in. It must exceed or meet that square footage for that room. And last but not least, the fan, which has been around for many years, that can also help improve airflow. And instead of blowing the fan into the room, onto the people in it, you can consider opening your window, having the fan face outside so that it is pulling the air from the room and blowing it outside. So this will help to bring new air in. And if you are going to face it towards a window, you want to be sure young children, if they're in the house, are supervised. You don't want any falling out through windows or through screens. And that is a very important aspect of safety. Certainly when you have children, you want to take additional recommendations, even things such as reading labels, using the products as recommended. And another key aspect of cleaners for safety and for it actually working effectively is to leave the cleaners for the recommended number of minutes on a surface. There is something that's called contact time or dwell time. They both mean the same thing. Most cleaners and disinfectants, if you read the fine print on the bottles, you spray it on a surface, and generally between 3 and 10 minutes, it takes it to work effectively. And I know many of us probably have grown accustomed over the years to spray something on and you rub it off the surface and say, oh, that's good. That looks really nice. And while it looks good, it may not have killed all the germs on the surface. Now, on the other hand, you want to use it as it is recommended, minimal amount needed. Do not overuse them. You don't want to make extra strong solutions. It's just too much. It's not necessary. And again, getting back to product safety, when you have children in the house or adults that may have health issues associated with memory loss, you want to be sure you have products in a locked cabinet for safety. This is from the EPA, and it has 6 steps for effective disinfectant use. So number 1, make sure it's EPA approved. Read the directions. Use a cleaner prior to your disinfectant. Follow that recommended number of minutes of contact or dwell time. And think of your body. Wear gloves. Wear a long sleeve shirt. This is not the time, like in the summer, although it's warm, people might tend to wear a short sleeve top or shorts. This is not the time when you're cleaning to wear things that are more comfortable, or to wear sandals. When you're cleaning, you want to have a long sleeve top. You want to have long pants on. Notice the person has cleaning gloves to protect their hands. And it's good to have protective eyewear. You can splash something, can get in your eye. If you ever do, make sure you really rinse it very, very, very thoroughly. And if a problem persists, call your doctor right away. And lock it up. That's the last step with using disinfectants. If you get a call, remember, if you have little kids in the house, it only takes a few seconds. Any of us who've been around little kids know it takes children very little time to get into any kind of cleaner or solution in a bucket. So it's better to let that call go so that the child cannot come to access with any kind of cleaning product. We have a handout on that too, which Sarah will be describing. So although we know now we need to clean before we disinfect, the step prior to that is to remove any kind of items, clutter, your mail, anything that's left down on a surface. So you can remove things, even if it's a table, if you have a salt and pepper shaker or a napkin holder or something, remove everything so you can really thoroughly clean a table and around the edges, things like that, or any kind of surface. And do pay attention to the high touch surfaces daily, which Sarah will go over that with you. So far, we're always amassing new information, but this is what we've learned about COVID-19. Dark and nighttime conditions are similar to indoor conditions that we're kind of experiencing now. And sunlight and humidity and high temperatures that are characteristic of the summer here in Connecticut, when it's 74 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, that helps to inactivate the virus on surfaces and in the air. We know that the rates were lower in the summer than they've had flare-ups at times in the fall when the weather got cooler. And when the temperature and humidity is lower and there's less sunlight, this tends to support the survival of the virus. And research, I think, will continue to evolve on things we can do to minimize the survival of the virus on different types of surfaces. And I've seen a lot of studies. I haven't seen anything definitive yet from the CDC or the EPA. Some of the studies I've seen on viruses indicate that stainless steel is one surface that it might tend to survive on a little longer than others. I know people were concerned about boxes and receiving a lot of their deliveries now, and there doesn't seem to be too much concern about that. In reality, the virus does not appear to survive too long on a cardboard box. However, if you get one and you're concerned, you can always wash your hands after handling the box and disposing of the box. So that would be a solution. Just use your common sense. Soft touch surfaces here. These can include the carpeting on flooring, upholstered furniture, rugs, and drapes. These need to be cleaned according to the manufacturer's instructions so you don't ruin them. And you want to, if you get buy a product that's specific for that purpose. So you want to clean your upholstery on your furniture, buy something that's designed for that and test it on a little inconspicuous part, like under the edge of the seam. So if it affected the color when it dried, you would say, oh, that product might be a little too strong for your particular furniture. And you always want to launder or dry clean items if possible. And steam cleaning machines can certainly be used to clean carpeting, but you want to be sure to extract as much liquid as possible to prevent mold growth, and also maybe turn on those ceiling fans so that you can get the area to dry rapidly. So that's what's ideal. And certainly for any kind of soft touch surfaces, clothing we wash in our laundry. High touch surfaces, these are those we touch every day. You probably, if you could take a film of yourself from the time you get up and go throughout your day into the evening, you'd probably be surprised all the things we do touch in a house. And here's an example of a banister, a handle, and a light switch. Think of all the light switches turn on and off throughout the day. Your phones, chargers for phones, the trash can. If you can get one with a pedal where the lid will pop up instead of having to open the lid, that's an area that could potentially be, depending what design trash cans you have, high touch surfaces. And it's good to wash them out too every so often. And soap dispensers, medicine containers, toothpaste, rugs in high traffic areas. There are many high touch surfaces, and Sarah will talk about these. Product safety is important. And there is this logo, it's a label that says Safer Choice. And this is great for anyone that scents bother them. And this can come on at any point in time during your life. You may not be bothered by scents, and all of a sudden you could hit 30, 40, 50, 80, and scents suddenly make you sneeze, or you have other kind of runny nose, watery eyes, any kind of reaction that could be an allergy, an overreaction with your immune system to scents. So when you select products that have this on the label, they will probably be less irritating to those that tend to suffer from allergies. And here you can see some people certainly not only have allergies, but which is more severe, they have asthma. And asthma does affect about 1 in 12 adults and 1 in 10 children in the United States. And one of the things you can do at home is to avoid using aerosol or any kind of spray disinfectant, because this will aggravate respiratory diseases such as asthma. So if you look for those disinfectants or cleaners that you put a little on a clean sponge or clean microfiber cloth, or something you mix with water and just put a little on the counter and wipe, let it sit and then wipe it with paper towel. This will be better than spraying things through the air. The spray is what aggravates people quite a bit with asthma. And again, the low and fragrance free is another very important thing to help to limit the number of asthma attacks and to lower your stress as well. Now, this, of course, time in the pandemic has not been conducive to lowering people's stress, but you see a lot of different classes. I'm sure the library has a lot of resources, things you could do to just make it a little calmer, a little easier throughout your day. Another thing that's often overlooked are the number of doormats you have entering your house. And most people tend to have one. However, if you have more than one, the more dirt and contaminants will be prevented from being brought into your house on the bottoms of your shoes. And either depending on whether you're in an apartment or a home, or even if it's possible at your home, some people have a little mud room, which is nice. If not, just walk inside your home. It's good to have a rack or a place to leave your outdoor shoes so people don't trip over them. And also to have indoor shoes that you only wear inside the house. And this will make it easier when it comes time to do your cleaning. It'll be healthier, especially for pets. Certainly if you had toddlers or people who sit play games on the floor, watch TV on the floor. So anyone that's in contact with the floor, it'll help to just limit the amount of contamination coming into your house. And routinely, it's good to wash or clean flooring, indoor mats. I do my indoor mats every so often with hardwood floors, and the carpeting if you have wall-to-wall types of carpeting. Another important thing, it's good to establish daily and weekly cleaning habits. And Sarah Thomas will go into this for us as she is our next speaker.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. So we are going to talk about daily and weekly cleaning habits. So it's very important to establish these as they can help you to keep on track of all of those different routines. So areas and items that you use daily should be your priority. So this could be your kitchen or your dining room table. And if you make a list of all the different areas that you need to clean, that can really help you to stay organized. And finding a time daily, maybe before you go to work or right before you go to bed, to put things away and clean everything up can be very helpful, as it can help you to stay on top of that, and also be sure to pick those things up before you start to clean and disinfect. Perfect. So many of us struggle with clutter in our homes, and this can occur when we have a buildup of items and materials. And so decluttering your home can really help to improve that efficiency and reduce any stress that comes along with having a lot of items and a lot of clutter in your home. So when you're thinking about decluttering, it's important to make decisions about which items you want to keep and which items are maybe best to recycle or throw away or donate. So it can help to ask yourself these 3 questions. So does the item bring you joy? Do you use it regularly? And is the item a necessity? And if the answer is yes to any of these questions, then it's good to keep that item because it's of use and it fits into your life. But if it doesn't fulfill any of these parameters, it might be time to recycle or pass it along. And it can be helpful to start with one area of your home and then move on to the next over time, as this can help to make the process less overwhelming. So many of us have established or developed workspaces and home offices because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's important to keep these workspaces clean to help maximize your productivity and reduce your distractions, as it's easier to find things. So when you're thinking about organizing that workspace, you might consider transferring any of those paper documents to electronic documents if that's appropriate for the paper. You can also go through your mail once a day and shred anything you don't need and sort through all those papers and only keep the ones that you truly need, so you can recycle any of the other ones and cut down on the amount of materials that are on your desk space. You can also use vertical storage options and drawers and any bins, folders, and trays to help to maximize your storage space, and also to help to categorize any of those items to limit the amount of clutter on your workspace. And it's important to create an organizing routine, as this can help to keep on track of cleaning all of that up so you don't get overwhelmed. So many children are also in the same area in which they have to create some sort of workspace to do either their virtual learning or to do their homework when they come home from in-person learning. So it's important to designate an area in your home for your child to work and keep school items, as it really helps to build that sense of ownership and responsibility of that space. So simplicity is the best for kids to thrive in. So making sure that you eliminate any of those distractions within the work area can also be helpful, and finding places to keep backpacks, papers, schoolwork, and school tools, cut down on that clutter and make it easier for the child to tidy up each day. And it's also very important to clean any high-touch surfaces in this area, especially if your child is going back and forth between virtual learning and in-person learning, as they might be exposed to different germs and viruses. So it's important to keep all that clean. Now, it can be very beneficial to find ways for all household members to participate in healthy housekeeping, and this also applies for any children that are in the home. So these are some age-appropriate chores that can help to keep children involved and help them to build that responsibility as they age. And chore charts are additionally a great motivator for these age groups, and they also really like stickers, so that can help to motivate them to clean all of that up and do all of their chores. As children get older, they can increase the number of chores that they are responsible for, and they can also increase the complexity of the chores that they do around the home. So these are some other examples of age-appropriate chores. And there's lots of fillable checklists that are available online that can also help those children keep in mind what they have to do each day in regards to households, cleaning, and chores. Now, good cleaning tools can help to make the cleaning process easier. So some ideal cleaning tools can include a vacuum, damp mops, damp dusters, and you can also use paper towels, freshly cleaned mops, and any microfiber cloths and sponges to help make the cleaning process a lot easier. And a vacuum with a HEPA filter helps to catch any of those fine particles. So this is best for people with allergies or asthma, as it reduces the amount of particles in the air. So if you are handling laundry from someone who is ill, it's great to wear gloves when handling any of that laundry. And it's best to bring any of those contaminated clothing or items outside of your home, and you can place them in a plastic bag. And then when you bring the plastic bag with the contaminated laundry back inside, you want to take it directly from the bag right into the washing machine. Because if you shake contaminated laundry, it can disperse any of those germs that are on the laundry into the air and can possibly contaminate you or things around you. So you should always launder items based on manufacturer's instructions. However, high heat is generally best in this situation. You want to make sure you wash your hands after handling any contaminated laundry, and be sure not to touch your eyes or your nose or your mouth when you are working with that laundry before you have washed your hands. You should dry any of that in the dryer with the highest heat setting, as long as it doesn't go against the manufacturer's instructions, and be sure to clean and disinfect that hamper afterwards to not contaminate any laundry that is placed in the hamper afterwards. Now, electronic devices are definitely a special consideration, as they go outside of the home with us and we are using them all the time throughout the day. So it's very important to clean these items to limit any transmission of germs, viruses, bacteria, etc. So cell phones in particular can be contaminated with all of these different germs and bugs and viruses. So it's very important to clean those very frequently, and avoid holding your cell phone against your face, as you don't want to transfer any of those pathogens from your cell phone to your face and all of your mucous membranes. So also be sure to unplug all the cables and turn devices off before you start to clean your electronic device. And you should follow manufacturer's instructions, but it is usually acceptable to use a 70% alcohol wipe or an alcohol spray, but be sure to spray the alcohol mixture directly onto a microfiber cloth instead of directly onto your device. And you might also want to consider some wipeable covers, as this can help to make the cleaning process easier. And be sure to clean any tables and surfaces that electronics like laptops are placed on, and try to avoid to share electronics. So if you have to share, be sure to clean before and after the individual uses it or yourself. And we have put together a collection of references and resources to help you implement all the concepts that we have talked about here tonight. So the first link that we have available to you goes to the EPA website, and this is the list N that Mary Ellen talked about earlier in the presentation. So here you'll be able to learn a little bit more about the disinfectants that work to destroy SARS-CoV-2, which is the virus that causes COVID-19. And you can use this tool to ensure that you are using the right disinfectants during the pandemic. Our third link is to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which is the CDC. And this details how to properly clean, dry, and store masks, as this can help you keep you and your family safe during the pandemic. And the last two links bring you to our UCONN Healthy Homes website. And here you can find a variety of resources and fact sheets that can help you maintain a healthy home. So the following resources and handouts can also be found on that website. So this first handout is from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and it pertains to the 8 principles that make up a healthy home. So information on this handout can help you to identify the components of a healthy home and how to improve those components in your household. This next document is one that Mary Ellen talked about a little bit earlier in the presentation, and it's from the EPA. It can really help you to stay safe when you're using disinfectants around your house. So it may be helpful to print this document out and hang it somewhere near your cleaning supplies or somewhere that you know you'll be able to view when you are about to prepare to disinfect the surfaces in your home so you can make sure you're staying safe. Now, this handout goes over a list of common high-touch surfaces in each room or area of your home. So it divides it up into different areas, and it can give you great examples of things that you might use every day that would be great to clean, and it can get those gears turning and help you think about any of those other high-touch surfaces that maybe you use that are not on the list. So some examples would be the coffee maker in your kitchen, or the refrigerator handle, or any light switches and plugs. And it also contains information on product selection and safety, as well as efficiency tips for cleaning and disinfecting those high-touch surfaces. And this handout is a template for healthy housekeeping, and it can be customizable, so you can add different things based on what your high-touch surfaces are and your cleaning routines are. And it's very important to establish a routine, as you might have different days for doing different things, or you might designate different cleaning chores to different household members. And making a personalized list like this template encourages can really help you to stay organized and keep on top of all of those chores and those cleaning responsibilities. And our last handout is caring for electronics. So this can help you to safely care for all of your electronic devices. It goes over some general cleaning tips and tricks for this specific group of items. And it also identifies some key electronics and electronic accessories that should be cleaned frequently, as you can see in this big gray box at the top of the handout. And here are some additional resources that you can use to find more information on healthy homes and on cleaning and disinfecting. And now Mary Ellen is going to be sharing a little bit more about our optional feedback form.
We want to thank you tonight for participating in the meeting. And we also have some questions. And you have what is called a feedback form with the other materials and handouts that Sarah just mentioned. And you have the option, you are not required in any way. It's up to you whether you choose or choose not to answer the questions, or some or all. But we would be interested, if you would like, your feedback on what you did learn. Would you use the information to have a healthier home? Will you share this with others, and about how many? And any suggestions that you would have for us. And you can email just a little quick summary of this to me, or use that form. The form is in Word, and to mary.welch@uconn.edu. So we would be appreciative if you were able to do that. And I would also like to thank Sarah again for her excellent presentation. And Anne, I don't know if we had some questions in the chat box.
We did. Are we here? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I did have one question about the UV sanitizing wands. Do you have any thoughts on that as a cleaning agent?
That's a good question. From what I have read so far, there are some products, and the UV light, of course, like similar, going out into sunlight, is thought to have an effect on the virus. And from what I have read so far, if you purchase something, I would really read the claims very carefully. Like, there are some UV sanitizers for your cell phone, which hopefully would work. It is generally thought, from the literature that I've been reading, that they would be used, professional equipment, by professionals who are trained. And at this point, it is not recommended that they're waving the wand would be able to clean most surfaces in your home. You'd be better off using the cleaners and the disinfectants. That's a good question, though. Glad you brought that up.
And I've been using wipes. I can't tell you how many things of wipes we've gone through, and I just use those Lysol wipes and I just wipe everything down, but that's not allowing it to sit. Is that effective enough?
But if you use it according to the directions, it will be, as long as you clean first, make sure it's a clean surface and use the wipe, then it should be effective.
Because I just go around every doorknob, everything I touch, I just wipe clean.
That's a good routine to get into, because a lot of things we just forget. I mean, a lot of people in their homes, we think about the kitchen, we think about the bathroom as two main areas have to be clean. However, there are a lot of things we touch, light switches, as you say, handles, or the door itself. Not just the door handle, but some of the frame. I think, I've noticed over the years that definitely the area of the door that's right near the doorknob tends to have the most prints on it. And, it's just for people touching it, which is natural. So there's a lot of things that get touched in a home, and that high touch surface handout that Sarah was mentioning, you might say, oh, gee, yes, that is, I forgot about that spot.
I did.
So it's really helpful. It'll kind of, I think for many people, many are excellent cleaners, but for some, it'll bring to their attention some of those areas you may have forgotten about.
I also have a question about the advisability of wearing gloves when you're out, latex gloves when you're out. Does that help protecting? It's not so much cleaning, but is it as a protectant?
I'm not a complete expert on the gloves outside of the house, but I don't think it could hurt in any way, because if you're touching surfaces that have germs, not even a COVID germ, but other germs, there's many germs in our environment. Most of our bodies have done a pretty good job over the years of fighting off germs. However, I don't think the gloves are a bad idea at all. I think they are an extra layer of protection for things that you touch when you go out of the house.
Yeah, I loved the decluttering hints, Sarah, because that was just, I mean, that makes life so much easier, and the scheduling, the cleaning, and that they were just, you think of those things, they're kind of extensions, but yet they're very, very helpful. I've been doing a lot of decluttering here, and it makes you feel good too.
It does. Sometimes less is as they say, is better. And I myself have found I'm looking at some things and saying, do I really use this item? And or if it always seems to wind up, in the same spot where it doesn't belong, maybe it needs to find a new home. But it's good to have a home for different items in the house, and a 10-minute cleanup per day. Just picking up things is not a bad idea, and using even a basket, so that if you have multiple family members, you could throw some of their things in a basket. It can go back to their room, and that will work.
I set a timer for 15 minutes and just go as fast as I can to clean it. And
That's
then all those
perfect.
declutter things I found, giving away, there's free cycles on Facebook and stuff, and people really love your trash.
Yes, people make something, you say, gee, I'm no longer using this, don't have a need. And it's great to be able to share something with someone that, that's perfect for them.
Yep.
And I definitely, would consider that.
Well, I thank you for all the information. I don't see any other chats here. We will make this available on our website. And I thank you for all the hints. I'm going to go check all my cleaning supplies and make sure that they're up to snuff. Thank you, Sarah. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, I guess we're good. Good. So thank you, Mary. Thank you, Sarah. It's been very informative. And I'm not going to clean tonight, but tomorrow I will.
That's right. Tomorrow's another day.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.